Welcome to Book Crew. We are on KCCC 930 AM in New Mexico on Mondays at noon. We're available on YouTube under the Task Force Geek banner, and by the time you hear this, we'll be on every major podcast aggregator out there. I am writer and marketing Jedi Dirk Cooper, and I'm joined as always by author and editor Beth A. Freely. How are you doing, Beth?
I'm doing good, Dirk. How are you doing?
Doing okay. I'm neck deep in this formatting
neck deep in editing.
I'm very, very close to getting it done. I'm very excited about it. I'm hoping to button it up and send it off today.
Well, I wrapped up another one over the weekend, and it's ready to go. And it releases on the 14th. It's another Shared World book. And then
what is that?
Let's see. I've got Hot Temptation. It's the Temptation Island series.
Okay, I saw you put something out on that. That looks good.
Yep. So that one. And that one was fun to write because
I am reading your anthology book. That's it. The female.
Oh, the Realm Queens
Club. Yes.
Yep.
I am currently reading that and enjoying it. It's a lot of fun.
We had a lot of fun with that. So I'm looking forward to taking the story that I put in there, the Kiss of the Crimson Valkyries, and turning that into the full-length novel next year. So that's going to be fun.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. We have kind of an announcement to make there, but now's maybe not the time.
Oh, go ahead. Announce it.
No, I'm not. Believe me, I'm not ready.
You're not ready.
I'm not ready.
Well, now everybody's going to be curious, and eventually you're going to have to make an announcement later. So there you go.
That's good. I want them curious. That's exactly where I want them.
Let them be curious.
All right, well, let's get to our guest, because I really think that we're probably going to fill up our whole time and probably wish we had more time. Desiree Duffy is the founder of Black Chateau, a marketing and public relations agency. Books That Make You, a Webby award-winning multimedia brand that promotes books and authors through its website, podcast, and radio show, and the BookFest Adventure, a biannual online event uniting book lovers worldwide. Desiree Duffy, welcome to Book Crew.
Thank you for having me, guys. Hello.
For sure.
I have heard so much about you. Are your ears burning?
They should
bet,
Beth, we almost don't get through a conversation without talking about you or BookFest.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you.
Well,
kindly.
Doing my bellwether thing.
Kindly.
Yes.
She's a bellwether. That's why. Yes.
We'll
Part
get to
of
that.
The cadre of folk. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I don't want to steal your thunder.
No, that's okay. But let's get kind of to your origin story, and more importantly, to about Black Chateau and how that was created and what it is.
All right. That's my baby. Black Chateau is my agency. I founded it, I should say, back in 2016, 2017. At the time, I was working for this boutique fancy schmancy agency in Calabasas, California. Loved it there. Don't get me wrong. And I realized as I was releasing my own book that there really wasn't any agencies out there that were integrating digital marketing, SEO, some of those things that were, I'm going back a few years now, almost 10 years, but at the time that was all bleeding edge stuff, right? Even the term bleeding edge is from 10 years ago. So
right.
Kind of go back in time with me and bear with my old time vernacular. But I realized there weren't a lot of people out there at the time that were servicing authors and really getting the books out there. You had the old school mentality. There was lots of great publicists out there. There still are that really they literally still had a Rolodex, if you remember that. And they were doing things just clunky and old timey. And it's a fusion basically of the old and the new. And that's where we started Black Chateau, to create retainers for clients, for authors specifically, to promote their books because they need it. I saw that niche. You know the old saying about find the niche in the industry and then go toward that. And that's where we founded Black Chateau as a full service agency, still boutique, hold our client's hand every step of the way. And then we created the BookFest a couple of years later because we needed a platform to promote our authors' books, and we do. editorial type reviews there, and we do small promotions there, advertising boosts and things like that. And then a couple of years after that, as things were going along just great, as with every company, we had lockdown hit in 2020. And that's when the Book Fest was born. And we created, it's still going strong, as you already know. Twice a year, we do it every spring and fall. And that's it. That's my story in a nutshell.
Before we get to Book Fest, and I'm sure we're going to want to talk about that, give us an idea of what you do for authors, a little bit more granular level at Black Chateau.
Sure. So the whole idea is there's a lot of folks out there that'll do little pieces of things. They're going to run your book tour online, and they're going to maybe get a few reviewers to review your books. Also, authors will get hit up by that individual, I'll review your book, $25. I'll review your book, $2,500. You know, they're on the gamut.
Yeah.
It's a retainer. It's a classic agency type retainer. And if you can imagine the book launch predicated in the middle, we generally do 6 months or 8 months. So 3 months or 4 months before and after. So we do a lot of pre-book launch strategy prior, getting advanced reviews. And we do that a few different ways. Some tried and true stuff like NetGalley. We have our own database of book reviewers. Plus we do the newfangled modern way with book influencers, right? The third parties, the bookstagrammers and the book talkers. Right. So we get the reviews out there. We work with the author. I work with all of our authors personally on their branding messages, because it's all about the message. What is the core of what your book and you are about? And we dig into that. We do some media coaching, and we kind of pull out those talking points, because eventually we'll be pitching them for media interviews. We do the press release for the book. We do giveaways for the book. So you're not out there again with all of those little folks doing little freebie giveaways here and there. We just take care of that, so the author can do that crazy thing that authors want to do most. They can write, and they can also just enjoy that moment of releasing a book. I don't know about you, Beth, but I meet so many authors that are just like, I just released my book, and their hair is all frayed because they're trying to do so much of it themselves. Yeah.
That's why I finally hired a PA just to do my social media. So I finally broke down and did it, because I just didn't have time. So I'm usually one of those authors that looks like that.
Right. What kind of genres do you work with mostly?
It runs the gamut. Really, the ones that we stay away from or avoid, and it's nothing because of our personal opinions. Heck, I like things when they get a little bit steamier than you would imagine. But erotica, and it's mostly because of the algorithms, because if we're doing a campaign, we call it the author network for a reason. It's a network of authors that we're putting into different promotions and advertising. So if you're advertising on YouTube, for example, you need to be careful of the words you say. And if you're advertising on Meta, for example, you need to be careful of the content. They just don't allow certain things. And then anything that just feels too polarizing, we will shy away from. Stuff that goes one way or the other, just too much. And the third thing is, in all honesty, the author needs to be ready for it. Probably the number one thing that prevents us from working with an author is the author themselves might not really understand the industry. They might be a little bit too new and green and unwilling or unable to really understand what the industry is all about, especially nowadays. They're trapped in the publishing world of 20 years ago. That happens. Or in some cases, and Beth is going to understand what I mean, being a developmental editor, and Dirk, you too, like, you understand the industry. If I see a book and it's not ready for the marketing and PR, that's probably the hardest thing I have to say to that author who thinks they're ready to hire me. And a lot of times they might not realize it at the time, but I'm doing them a favor when saying, no, you need to go take that back to your dev editor, keep working on it. I'm sorry, that copy edit is not the kind of editing your book needs. Yep. Or you need a better book cover, or so that's basically the types of authors or books that we don't really work with.
Well, you mentioned erotica, the two books that I have worked on are both erotica, and there are a lot of roadblocks for people don't understand how difficult it is to promote stuff, and it's for exactly the reason that you just mentioned. And even something just as simple as running Facebook ads, you can't do because it's pointed toward, Amazon won't allow you to run ads for erotica. So doing erotica and I've dealt with this I'm also a fetish photographer and I'm also a fetish illustrator. And so I've dealt with this in every different iteration that you can imagine. And it creates a very unique set of challenges to get your work out there, because the avenues that are open to a normal standard novel are not available to you if you're doing erotica.
Yeah, exactly. There's still ways to do it, as you know. And again, it's not a personal opinion, but because of the platforms, and when we're working for Black Chateau with our clients, we're putting our clients literally into events and doing shows and advertising in ways where we might not be able to do that. But to your point, I think there are creative ways that you can get around it, and there are platforms for you. So the thing too is there's a market for it. So you have the market. You just have to find a way to get to them.
You just have to find how to get to it. Yeah.
The sales are there. I mean, the readers are there. You just got to figure out how to get in front of them. Exactly. What do you see authors do that works against them in marketing and public relations?
I think the biggest thing is understanding the commitment that they need to bring to the table. Even with Black Chateau, offering all these services and doing those things that, an authorpreneur, there's lots of authorpreneurs out there. There are these magical unicorns that do everything themselves, props to them. But even then, I've had authors who don't realize, oh, wait, my book just launched? You mean you're going to be booking interviews for me then? Gee, maybe I shouldn't take that month-long trip to Europe. Seen stuff like that happen, where and that's just an example that popped into my head because it was recent. But they don't realize, I need to do stuff too. I still need to do these interviews. I have to mark space off on my calendar. Yes, I have a 9-to-5 job, but am I going to be able to find a place at work to do them? Am I going to be able to do these at home? And being able to do them also includes things like the lighting and the sound and organizing the tech and all of those things, where, again, I think a lot of times, especially anybody who's got a mindset that might be a little bit antiquated in what they think an author is doing, all of a sudden they realize, ooh, I have to do all of these things. And by the way, maybe I should be on social media and Substack and do email marketing and all of that stuff. So I think just kind of being prepared and being aware of the things that they need to actually bring to the table to ensure the success of their own book launch.
There's a deeper commitment to being an author. And we've said this plenty of times, 50% is writing, 50% is marketing. And a lot of newer authors don't realize exactly what goes into the actual marketing. I find it interesting that a lot of the general public don't realize what goes into marketing your book. Everybody just thinks, oh, you wrote a book, that's wonderful. Yeah, well, now I got to sell it. And I've had people here in town, who have seen me doing little shows around. They see me hustle. They see me talking to everybody that walks past, or trying to engage anyone who walks past, and talking to them about my book, talking to them about, the swag that I've got on the table. There's some hustle involved with this. It's not just, write a book, drop it and go. There's, if you want to even be just moderately successful as an author, you got to hustle. There's still hustle.
Yeah.
And Desiree, maybe you can speak to this. I mean, all marketing comes directly from the author. I mean, you can't create something that's not there. It all originates from them. So you have to, like you're digging for gold, you have to dig for that gold first and find out what's happening with them, and shine it up and then put it out there, right?
Exactly. the way I look at that is the core of one's brand message or their marketing message. And to me, that's foundational in a way that I think a lot of people don't, to your point, Beth, a lot of the folks out there don't necessarily, they hear the words, but they don't really understand what they mean. And when you start talking about it, it's like, oh, I don't need branding. I have a logo. I have a color scheme. No, what's your message? What are you saying? Mm-hmm. And especially guys with fiction authors, because it's so easy if you're nonfiction. If your book is 10 ways to lose 10 pounds, 2 weeks.
Yep.
That's the pitch, right?
Yeah.
That goes everywhere in the press release. That's what goes to the shows and everything. You've got a sweeping fantasy series that digs into societal woes and metaphysics and all of these topics that just need to be unpacked. I need to do that with the author and distill them into these little itty bitty nuggets called sound bites. And doing that with an author who just wrote 300,000 words for their fantasy books, woo, that's a task. But it's so important because you need to make it for the TikTok generation. Let's face it, folks nowadays give us less than 2 seconds as they're scrolling by. So you have to grab them like that.
That's why when I asked Dirk to make my initial logo for me and we were talking branding, I said to him, I said, you know what? I said, tagline is romance, but so much more. Because while I write romance novels, anyone who's ever read any of my books know that I do a lot of deep dive into character and world building. Perfect examples Beyond the Steps of Stone. Another example will be, Love of a Samurai when it comes out in June. I do a lot of world building. I do the research. I rabbit hole myself, doing it. But, and also I don't pigeonhole myself into one subgenre of romance. I write everything. I write sci-fi romance, historical romance, paranormal romance, contemporary romance, Western. I write it all because that's me. I enjoy doing it. So that's my brand, romance, but so much more. And I've talked to other authors and they're like exactly what you said. Oh, well, I got a logo. Yeah, but your logo doesn't tell me which brand it is.
Exactly. And your writing indeed does do that, Beth. You're very immersive in your writing. And some of what I really appreciate about it too is because of the fact that it's romance, but you're pulling in fans of other genres. And that genre bending and mashing up genres, that's another thing that I feel is a trend right now. It's hot right now. You can do that.
Oh, yeah.
Even a few years ago, if you went to a publisher and said, well, it's, aliens meets romance meets, mermaid love. I just made that up. I think mermaid romance is a thing, but they would look at you like you were crazy.
Yeah,
right?
They would. Yeah.
But you can do stuff like that nowadays. It's like, oh, we got the mermaid fans in there. We got the sci-fi fans in there. We've got the steamy romance in there. And that's a sweet spot, the conjunction where Beth A. Freely meets everybody.
Yep.
Yeah. What motivated you to create books that make you, and how has it impacted the literary community?
Books That Make You started out as a place for us to put our listicle articles. So you've all seen listicles, the top 10, makeup tricks for 2025, the top 10 books to bring with you to the beach this summer, the top books to buy mom for Mother's Day, the best books to buy for graduation gifts. All of those types of listicle type things, we do those for books. So again, a listicle is a thing. We do those for books. Part of what the author network is. And when we started doing it, it was like, well, you need a website to put these. And we advertise them too. It's called native advertising. It's basically advertising something with a PR bent to it, but it's still advertising. And we needed a home for that. So we made up Books That Make You as the brand name. And we created just this very much consumer facing brand. Black Chateau is B2B. That's the agency. Books That Make You is not only a home for those listicles, but now we do editorial type book reviews. We do advertising boosts as well. When we do events like the LA Times Festival of Books, Black Chateau is like this little itty bitty part of it. And then it's all Books That Make, because that's something that the reader can identify with. When we do events like we do the gifting suites, prior to the Oscar Awards and prior to the Emmys, for example. We do that under Books That Make You, and then our author is there signing and giving away books, because that has a brand image. And yeah, it's got a logo too, but the image behind it, to Beth's, it speaks to so much more. And it's a place that we can not only promote our Black Chateau authors, that was originally why and how we did it, but we've invited over the years many other authors to participate in those promotions too.
How do you balance managing all of these different avenues that you're doing right now?
Well, I cloned myself, you see.
There we go. That's what I was. That's what I was digging at.
Good answer.
I'm glad we've uncovered that.
Good answer.
You guys, I mean, I can say the same to both of you, because I know you are doing all of these things, writing yourself, and you're doing website, and you're doing developmental editing, and you're doing it all. In my case, with the agency experience, like I created an agency. It's a small boutique agency, but I got a head website developer located in the United States, by the way. I have hired SEO experts. My husband, Dave, who Beth knows, he used to do operations in the entertainment world. Well, when lockdown happened, I had a job waiting for him, whereas he couldn't distribute films to movie theaters anymore.
Yeah.
And we have a team in place. And so, when I say Black Chateau or any of the three brands, I founded them, but we've got the people in place that can actually pull off all of these things. We've got an event coordinator when we do the LA Times Festival of Books, or when we do Book Fest. We have somebody that's specifically in charge of our giveaways and promotion. We have a project manager. So we have a great team in place that works on all three of the brands in different ways.
And I think I've worked with all of them at one point over the last 2 years.
Yeah, I think you have. You know everybody by name. You know Brian, our web dev guy. He's in Seattle. You know Dave. You know Kim. You know Jay, our project manager. Yeah. You know Nikki.
Shirley,
of course. Sure. How could I forget Shirley?
Yep. I know them all at this point.
You do.
People who have been following Book Crew since we started this thing have probably heard the word Book Fest about 10 times already, maybe more. And they've heard it from authors that we've done interviews with, and we frequently hear it from Beth, who is intimately involved. Please tell us about what Book Fest is and how it was created.
Sure. In 2020, when the LA Times Festival of Books, which we were at every year with our authors, we had a tent there and did the whole on-site activation, invited our authors in to sign. When that, at first, they just, they paused it because we didn't know how bad things were going to be in those early days. So it was in March, I believe, of 2020, where I went to Brian, our website guy, and I was like, we've done online events before, like Facebook events. We did that for Jingle Books, is another one of our things we do every year. Is there like a thing in a box? Is there like a webinar package that creates like an online webinar, seminar type thing? Like Zoom was still not a household word at that moment.
Right.
When I was able to Zoom with me, they're like, why can't you use the phone like all the other people? You crazy lady.
I still hear that.
Well, I have no patience for those folks anymore.
Right. I hear you.
Here we are. On the other side of that thing, but the good thing, I guess, that came out of it is people who would have been scared to death of doing an online event suddenly were sitting at home. And when we asked them to do this online event with us, they were like, yeah. Mad props to Brian and Dave too, whose workload at work, he still had his 9 to 5 at the time, just suddenly didn't have as much work to do. And they were like, we can build this. We can build it in 6 weeks. Actually, I think you can build it. Can you do it in 6 weeks? Because I didn't know like how long this would last. I wanted to create an event before we were all back out doing in-person events again. And we did the first one. And then by the time fall came around, we decided to do a second one because we were still all under the lockdown and we still needed connection. And that's really what the Book Fest is part of. It's a feeling of community and connection. I wanted it to, from the start, to feel like we're all in this together, creating something. I like to use the story of Stone Soup, which is one of, it's one of those sweet stories we all know as a child. Two wanderers come into the town and nobody wants to feed them. They want to ignore them, but they all come together when they start making stone soup. What are you making? Oh, stone soup. But it would taste so much better if I had some onions and if I had some mushrooms, and everybody chips in the end. And that's what the Book Fest turned into. It was kind of like, what are you doing, crazy lady over there creating this online event? And soon people got it because it's like, oh, wait, I want to be involved. And one of the funnest aspects of that very first one is we were just a few weeks away from going live too, 2 weeks maybe. And we thought, wouldn't it be fun to ask somebody rather ironic to do like this thing at the end? Maybe read a children's book like Goodnight Moon, just as like a little nightcap. Who should we ask? Danny Trejo, Machete. And let's ask. Worst they can say is no. Reached out through his manager and he said yes. So it just kind of showed. Cool. He read Goodnight Moon. At the time, we had to drive it to his location. We had a very covertly hired a driver to deliver it to his house so he could have the actual book. He came back the next time around too, because at that point he had a cookbook out, but then he had his memoir out. But it was just this cool thing of you don't know the answer until you ask. And if you pull people together that have that similar spirit and that desire to work together and help each other out, because in the world of authors, we all know this. You guys probably know this better than anybody. But if everybody works together and lifts each other up just a little bit, then we all just rise.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I think that's what it's all about.
That was one of the reasons why Dirk and I started Book Crew. And very first episode that we did, our guest was author Angel Nix. And the only thing she did different over the course of a month was the interview with us. And she saw her sales skyrocket. Man, that made Dirk and I feel so good. But also, like you said, it doesn't hurt to ask. What's the worst they're going to say? No. When I released, when I did Dorian Gray and was looking for a narrator, I got actor Max Brown, BBC, bona fide BBC actor, to, he read it. And I told Dirk, and Dirk's like, why don't you ask him to see if he'll come on the show? So I asked him and he did. And we have a 45-minute interview with Max, so nice. It never hurts to ask. Never hurts to ask.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
That Max interview is available on the Task Force Geek YouTube channel right now. Matter of fact, I think I put it near the top.
And my website. Website. I also have it I have it connected on my website too.
He was very.
It's Max.
To talk to us small potatoes and give us his time. He was really cool. I thought
he was. Yeah, he was a lot of fun to talk to.
You guys aren't small potatoes, first of all. we can help you, get rid of that mindset. But the thing is, too, and that's another thing I like about the author community in general. You see so many people who have achieved a certain degree of something, whether they're a best-selling author or narrator or actor, whatever. But there's so much help that they will give to others. Yes. I don't see this quite this way in other industry. Like even in the entertainment industry in general, it can be very cutthroat and very competitive. And then, consumer goods, all other industries tend to be a little bit more, this is mine, go away, do it yourself. Whereas in the author community, other folks are there. They will help you. They will email swap with you, do newsletters. They will do contests with you. So, and, to Beth's point, I know you do fabulous websites, but, in some cases, if you're not a website designer, maybe the person who can do websites and they're an author and you can help them with their social media. So I do see a lot of that collaborative effort in this community. And I think that's what makes it so wonderful.
Dirk joined the Muses Funhouse with me doing branding, because he's got the branding aspect of it, and we've done pretty good with it so far, and getting things rolling and seeing how it goes, and like when I do the editing, when I do developmental editing, I tell my authors straight out, I'm not going to tell you have to do this. This is what I'm suggesting to make your book better. Ultimately, it's your book. You do you. Because the last thing I ever want to do is change an author's voice. The last author that came to me through the Book Fest for editing, she wrote a memoir. And the first thing I said to her when I sent it back to her, I changed very little in your book because this is your voice and it's a memoir, and I do developmental editing for memoirs a little different because you're telling a personal story. So it's a different type of editing. I said, you can take the suggestions that I gave you, or you can pass them up. It's entirely up to you. But she came to me, she said, I've had another editor tell me I need to take this first part out. They say it's too raw. And I said, don't you dare take that out. I said, don't you dare. I said, that first part draws the reader in. It establishes your voice. It establishes your story. Yes, raw. You're writing a memoir. Of course it's going to be raw. I said, and the readers are going to expect that with a memoir. Every author I talk to, I tell them the same thing. It's your voice. It's your story. And that's how we have to uplift each other and help each other. And we have to kind of remind each other, you don't fit in a template. You don't need to fit in a template. It's your story.
Right on.
I want to speak to something that you said, Desiree, which is that unlike other creative avenues where it's kind of, let's go, like I told you that I was a photographer. The photographer business is very cutthroat. It's very much like, we're all desperately competing over the same clients. I mean, that's the mentality. I have noticed and have experienced with authors, they understand that readers, some of them, I mean, my mom reads a book a day. They are voracious. And other authors are not your competition. People have time to read their books and to read your books. But if you work together, then you can share your audience with them and vice versa. And all of the tide will raise all the boats.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, exactly. And especially some genres. I have a sneaking suspicion maybe, Dirk, your mom likes to read romance or maybe cozy mysteries or something like that, where you're going really, really fast. And Beth probably realizes this too. There are some genres that are just more digestible. You can go through them really fast. It's a little bit different when you have, hard science fiction where you're lost in 120,000 words and you need to take your time and really listen. But yeah, and I know so many romance authors and certain genres where their collaborating is just lifting them all up because, one author cannot possibly write one book every day. So if they're sharing this, helping each other up and sharing their audiences, now they've created their own little marketing audience that they can tap into, that they all can tap into and benefit from.
Can you give a little overview of what people can expect if they go to a BookFest event, what you offer there? And also, please tell us when the next one is.
Absolutely. So it's every spring and fall. The next one, as of the taping of this show, is October 25th and 26th. We usually do it the first weekend before Halloween, depending upon when Halloween lands. And that one tends to be a little spooky and, fall oriented, kind of getting people primed up too for the holidays. And then the second one that we do is always in the spring, generally, again, depending upon when holidays and things might land, the first weekend in April. And what people can expect is to go online and watch it and attend for free. It is completely free to attend because, again, in the early days, we were creating something that was community focused. We weren't looking to make money. We weren't trying to create an Evite thing that was capturing a bunch of email addresses. We encourage people to become bookfesters and subscribe. That way they get the newsletter that goes out. We usually generally ramp up prior to each book fest. There's not a lot of stuff that goes out in between because we really want it to be focused. And they can kick back and just watch directly on the book fest website. You're not downloading anything. You're not registering anything. We also stream it. We stream it on YouTube, and then there's an iframe on the website so you can watch it that way. We will stream on Facebook, X, a kind of whatever social media platform seems to be working for us at the time. So I tend to not say, oh, go find us on Twitter X, because I don't know how long we'll be on Twitter X. I don't want to guarantee that. And then Facebook likes to just drop the feed. So that's always fun too. But we make it free so everybody can come and hang out and just watch. Day one is for the reader. We made that so that authors talking about their books can learn about a showcase of books, as Beth knows, books and authors that they should put on their reading list. We do the live author chats, which is just that, authors kind of being invited up onto a stage to do like a 10-minute demonstration or chat or reading from their book. And then day two is for the writer. When we started this, so many authors came to me saying, I want to talk about the editing process, or I want to talk about the craft of creating character arcs. And I was like, no, this is for readers. You're being too B2B over here. And I don't know, authors just love to talk about how they do the books. And quite frankly, there is a lot of writers' conferences out there that maybe are cost prohibitive or travel prohibitive. So that's why day two is for the writers, and that's content to help writers up their game, from craft to the marketing and promotion. And then both days we do conversations, and those conversations highlight somebody in the industry, usually an author or somebody who has contributed in a meaningful way. And y'all want to know who's going to be in conversation at the next book fest?
Please tell me.
Yes.
You might be getting the scoop on this. It is best-selling author Heather Graham. She is going to be in
wow. Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
You have a moderator for that one yet?
Oh, I'll let you know. I'll keep you posted, my dear, because you're a great moderator. Beth moderates panels, and you've done such a great job with some of the authors.
I had so much fun when I did the interview with the gentleman who wrote the Berman mysteries, the Berman murder mysteries. Yeah, we had a lot of, that was such a fun conversation, such a fun interview. And then I wound up buying a copy of the book and reading it afterwards. Man, excellent book. So, yeah. If you ask me to do a panel, I'm going to say yes. So.
Desiree, I warned you that this was going to go quick, and we have about 2 minutes left, but I want to give you some time if there's something that we missed, if you want to mention it to everyone who's listening.
Oh my. Okay. I think the main thing is, if you want to become a book fester, again, we're not going to send you a bunch of emails, but we would love to make you part of the community, especially if you are an author, because we also do the Book Fest Awards every spring and fall. So you can get the early bird notices for entering the Book Fest Awards, which is, deeply discounted, but go to thebookfest.com. That's all it is. Thebookfest.com. That's us. Yes, there are imitators out there. They have tried to, imitate us. So be careful. It's thebookfest.com, and you can sign up to be a book fester. You'll get on the email list and you'll be notified about the next book fest. You'll also get the virtual gift bag, which is really cool. That goes out at the end of every book fest. It's packed full of downloads and stuff like that. So that's what I would recommend for folks to do. If you're an author and you're looking for an editorial type book review, or you want to do an advertising boost, in other words, move a lot of copies, especially digital copies, in a short amount of time. We generally do 3-month boosts, but we have different options. That's booksthatmakeyou.com. Again, booksthatmakeyou.com. And if you're an author and you want more information about Black Chateau and our white glove PR marketing services, that's blackchateauenterprises.com. And we have a contact form there where you can reach out, and it goes directly to me.
Desiree, thank you for being on here. We sure appreciate it. And I really want to get you back on here, whether it's a panel or if you want to promote BookFest or whatever. You have an event or you have an author that you really want to burn up or something, then send them to us, please.
Yes, you can burn our authors all you want.
That's right. All right, Beth, you're up. Tell us where we can find you.
Hey, you can find me on my website, Beth Ann Freely, BethanneFreely.com. If you're looking for my books, if you're looking for editorial services or website services, you can find me at themusesfunhouse.com. And I'm at the usual social media haunts, usually at B.A. Freely, Freely. And if you can't find me, just go to my link tree at B.A. Freely, and you'll find all my stuff there.
Awesome. I am at writeworks.dirkhooper.com. I'm also at asherlake.net. That's my erotic writer pen name. I'm at themusesfunhouse.com. On X, I'm at Dirk Hooper Plus, Plus. And on Facebook, I'm dirk.hooper. That's it, folks. Before we go, I want to say that Beth A. Freely is offering editing and book trailer services, and I'm offering author branding and social media management at the Muses Funhouse. Check out the website or contact us for more information. Thanks to our guest, Desiree Duffy. For Beth A. Freely, I'm Dirk Hooper saying, dream hard.